He might not be from Krypton, but he's heads above the rest. His knowledge can't be questioned.
They're inside. Hurry, Neo.
And what's up, everybody? How are you doing today? Welcome to the show, the Halloween special. I will be doing a couple of different movies, top 10 Halloween movies, the best, the worst, and all of that. So welcome, everybody. Hopefully you are going to enjoy this. I do like making lists. So, yeah, I got my list right here. I've got maybe some honorable mentions. We'll see. I do want to start by saying that the season of horror has been fairly interesting. It's been interesting because horror movies have been not that bad. They've been really good. Actually, I would say that I removed some movies from here that would be on my top 10 list. So I'm not going to have them now on my top 10 list because I've already done them here on this list. So that was the difference between having a horror movie list countdown to having just a movie list countdown. But to be honest with you, the movies have been shit. So this doesn't, and spoiler alert for my normal movie list. No, Wakanda Forever will not be on there anywhere. I'm not going to see the movie. So I'm not going to have an opinion one way or the other. So, because, I get teased about that, but honestly, I don't give a shit about that movie. So I'm sure people will be curious about that, but I don't care. But yeah. Other than that, where did Carrie go? She and her chats vanished. Spooky. Yeah, it is spooky. What's up? We got 4 people watching. Welcome. Today is my Halloween special. Today I will do my top 10 horror movies, which may be different than yours. Maybe you've seen these. Maybe you have not. Let me know in the comments if you've seen any of these movies. Hello, Rose. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome. Happy Halloween. Hopefully you like that intro. We'll try to switch it up a little bit for this special occasion. So, but I always like ending with the one thing. That's my favorite scene in The Matrix. So, but yeah, these were just some movies here for Halloween. So I am going to give you my favorite or my top 10 best Halloween movies, and then the top 10 worst Halloween movies, and then talk about Terrifier. I'm not going to get into spoilers because I know people haven't seen it, and I felt like it's a movie you have to see, but I will just give you some ideas. It's really hard to talk to without spoiling, so maybe I'll do like light spoilers and then do a spoiler warning once I get into it. So But anyways, welcome. So let's get down to the list. So this is the top 10 horror list, and I have here at number 10 is Hatchling. Uh Hatchling, hello Carmen. How are you doing? Hatchling is an interesting movie. And all of these ones, I'm gonna read the synopsis for you. So you guys have kind of a rough idea. So that yeah, because I just made this list, but I forgot to write down the synopsis because I was working, and yeah, I was just writing really a list and not like anything really more than that. Let me see who's got the best one. Here we go. Okay, so Hatchling is my number 10. And Hatchling is a story about a young gymnast who tries desperately to please her demanding mother and discovers a strange egg she hides and keep warms, but when it hatches, what emerge shocks them all. I can't tell you what this movie is about until uh oh, I'm not doing any Terrifier stuff, Carrie. That's not until the end. I'll let you know when I get into that. This is just my top 10 horror movie. This is the top 10 best list. Next, I'll do the top 10 worst. So, yeah. You're at no point am I going to spoil Terrifier yet. When I start getting into that, I will have a banner. I will let you know several times. This is my top 10 list. And then I'm going to do my top 10 worst. And then I'll do my Terrifier review. But number 10, Hatchling. Hatchling was a very good movie for me. Hatchling in this list of movies I have would be the artsy kind of movie, if that makes sense. It's another movie where I wouldn't even attempt to explain exactly what it is to you because it would ruin what the movie is trying to do. It's one of those movies like somebody asks you, they hear this movie is like great, and they're like, "Oh, what's great about it?" And the person tells you, "Well, you just have to watch it." It's one of those movies. And it's a small little film that really set um the indies circuit ablaze with the acting and the performances. The interesting part, Zod may take his hat off and the show his hair to scare us tonight. Okay, I guess if we're going crazy, I could do the mad scientist. There we go for Halloween. There you go. A little bit of a trick or treat kind of a deal. Yeah, I got crazy hair. I guess it fits um the theme we're going for here. Um but yeah, for me, Hatchling is a very artistic film. It's very beautifully shot. There is a scary thing in it, but really the main focus of this movie is you're welcome, lemon pie. The main focus of this movie is not the monster, but it's the people. Thank you, Carmen. It's the people that are um involved in the plot of this story. um this is one of those metaphoric horrors. I think a lot of people call it elevated horror. And I would say it's elevated because there is scares. There is some crazy body horror in this movie. But the point of the movie is not about that stuff. The point of the movie, well, it is, but it's also about this girl and her family and this facade that they have and the breakdown of this family because of this external force that happens, and it leads to a bunch of crazy shit. And definitely watch this movie if you haven't seen it. I want to say it's, I don't know what streaming service. Oh, Hulu. It's on Hulu. So go check it out because it was in the theaters and then it went to Hulu. Hulu's got a lot of these movies. So now is a good time to go check them out. Number 9, I got an oddball because this movie was not in the theaters, and I made some criteria and found out it was released theatrically. Movie called Fresh. I fucking love this movie. It'd be higher on my list if the competition wasn't so stiff this year for horror. Quite honestly, this movie made me look at Sebastian Stan completely differently. It really shows his range as an actor because if you guys don't know, and I don't even have to look up the synopsis for this, I've seen this movie a bunch of times. Basically, Sebastian Stan plays a really nice dude. This girl is dating these chicks, or this chick is dating these dudes. And even though there's some commentary in it, it's not annoying. It's a lot of shit you see on apps. Like she meets these guys and they're just dickheads. And she goes to the store and meets Sebastian Stan, and they strike up a conversation. They get things going. She goes to a retreat. She has the comical friend who's like, you should look up this dude's socials and not trust him. Long story short, and I swear to God, this is only the first 20 minutes of the movie, I'm telling you. That's in trailers. This is nothing for the rest of the movie because as fucking crazy as what I'm about to tell you is, it is nothing compared to the rest of this movie. So she goes with Sebastian Stan, and then, keep in mind, this is the opening of the film. So the whole dating thing and her going to meet Sebastian Stan and everything is the first like 10, 15 minutes. And that's what really sets the pace for how fucking nuts the rest of this movie is. But she goes there, they're drinking, she gets woozy, her drink is spiked. Now, I thought it was going into uncomfortable territory for me. Hey, Landon, top 10 horror movies. This is number 9, Fresh. I don't like horror movies that have rape scenes in them or anything like that. I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's very exploitative. I think that a lot of those films use the shock of physical torture as opposed to like being having a better writing style. I think you can have a good writing in horror movie. I think it's bullshit that all horror movies are just this like slock. And I do think there's an art to it. There's an art to everything. And this movie really shows that because Sebastian Stan spikes this girl's drink and you think it's going one way. She wakes up chained up. She's on a bed, but he looks at her and the first thing she says is what the audience is thinking, like, you know, are you going to rape me? And he goes, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. Who do you think I am? And I'm like, okay, now I'm really confused where this movie is going. So, needless to say, I'm not going to tell you what happens from there. Go on Hulu and watch the rest. But it is some fucked up shit. This movie, and Sebastian Stan is the lead in this movie, along with the girl. I forget the girl's name. I should look up the IMDb, but she's really good too. And Sebastian Stan is a great, like, I don't know really what to say without giving it away. Well, you get the idea. He's doing some shady shit, but the way he flips from like this nice guy to crazy and then back to nice, the dude's got way more range. Like I've only ever seen him as the Winter Soldier in Captain America, but here he's just kind of a normal dude, and then he flips to a psychopath, and then flips back to a normal dude. And his changes and transitions in this movie is fucking amazing until he goes full psychopath at the end of the movie. But you never know from scene to scene what he's gonna do. I mean, 1 minute he's dancing and then he's yelling with a knife in his hand. It is crazy. And if you haven't had a chance, I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble with my eyes. I hope your eyes get better. Sorry to hear that. But yeah, definitely go check out Fresh. It's on Hulu. It's been out for a while and it's on my list because I don't care that it's a streaming movie. If a streaming movie is better than a normal movie. I think it should get recognition. I think the streamer should get credit. It's still a movie. Just because it didn't have a theatrical release, I don't count it as, oh, it's not a movie that should be on a top 10 list. If it's good and I watch it, then it's going to be on my list. Hello, Aaron Cooper. How are you? Good to see you. Yes, I definitely do need a hairbrush, but we're going with crazy Halloween hair, we'll call it. Number 8, Incantation. Incantation surprised me. I have seen tons and tons and tons of found footage movie. I would actually say found footage might be a guilty pleasure genre of mine. I like most of them, and I'll get to my worst when I get to the one I don't like, but this one was really well done. There's a bit of a mystery around it. It does have 2 versions. There's a Cantonese and a English version. The English version is okay. I would suggest, if you don't mind subtitles, doing it in Cantonese. The movie is very good. I really like it. And it's like old school scares, but also kind of there is a bit of like people dying, but not really horrendously. They do the found footage thing, and I think it's really good. I really liked the style of shooting and how they did it. Why it makes my top 10 is because it was very unique, and I did like there's something that happens in the beginning, and then it comes back to the end. And you figure out why this thing keeps on flashing. There's a particular symbol and a group of symbols that are flashed throughout this movie, and it all comes back at the end. And the main character is very interesting because she goes to a downright horrendous mother to kind of understandable back to just a horrendous person when you get to everything that transpires. It's just a very interesting film, very unique. I liked it. Definitely check it out. Now, Nope. I had Nope when this began higher on my list. Unfortunately, there's just so much good horror, and where I have this place now is by no means saying this isn't a high quality movie. It's just there's so many other good horror movies that it really got pushed down. But this is a great movie. I love. Hey, happy Halloween, Jane Craig. Good to see you here. Welcome to my top 10 countdown of the best 2022 Halloween movies. I will be doing the worst 2022 Halloween movies. And then, I'm going to lead off with talking about a movie that may be the number 1 on this list. We'll see. Keep in mind, it's definitely on this list. Anyways, Nope is brilliant to me. Jordan Peele has always been one of my favorite directors, especially in horror. I don't know if this really qualifies as a horror movie. There's a lot of horror elements, but it's more sci-fi. But it's sci-fi horror, so I'm going to count it here on this list. Nope is amazingly shot. Like, absolutely. The cinematography in this movie is downright gorgeous. The themes interwoven in this movie. The reason why it goes down for me is because Jordan Peele is on that elevated horror level. Unfortunately, I think he telegraphs a lot of things in this movie more blunt than he did his last movies. I found Us to have a lot of little subtle things to give it a lot of rewatchability. Get Out has a lot of subtle things, and I really appreciate that movie over the years. I've grown to really like it as part of this like little trilogy that he's done, and he's got a very interesting catalog of movies. I look forward every time he comes out with a film. I honestly think he is one of the best directors working in horror. I've said it years ago with Us. Us is one of my favorite movies. It was number 1 on my list that year. I just don't think this movie is the strongest of the 3. but I do think it's a very strong movie this year. I'm even going to have it on my normal list because I'm going to cross the two. I think that this movie is just great. I think that the creature design is very unique and interesting. I've never seen anything like it. And I really like it. But stacked up against the lineup I have here, it's just not as strong as a lot of other things I've got on this list. So unfortunately, I don't think that Jordan Peele quite edges out this next movie. And it's not the writing necessarily, but just the shit that happens that separates these two movies. But keep in mind, like, every one of these next movies coming up switched on my list several times. They're all good in their own right. Like I said, this is the top 10 best horror movies. I had a hell of a time making this list. Like, there were so many movies I wanted to put on here, but I had to start going by which ones I rewatched, what was better, what edged certain ones out, which ones. I mean, you have to get into the nitty gritty because horror's just been on a roll. It's just been a horror year. So moving on to number 6, Barbarian. I'm going to rewatch this tonight. Barbarian is one of the wildest fucking movies I've seen in such a long time. And it's the type of movie that lends itself to being watched several times to see if you can pick up on the little things. Justin Long is the fucking MVP of this movie. Justin Long, it has been one of my favorite actors in this transition he's made to horror as just either a funny role or really odd appearances. I mean, he was in Drag Me to Hell and he was really good in there. He's a very charismatic actor, but in this movie, he plays the most convincing douchebag I've ever seen anyone play. And at the same time, he somehow makes himself likable because it's Justin Long. I don't know how the fuck he does it. And he did the same thing in Tusk, but in Tusk, he was more of a good guy. This one, he's a straight up asshole from the first moment you see him driving in his car until the last moment, literally the very last moment. He's a fucking dick. But yeah, I couldn't bring myself to hate him. Like, I hate the type of person he is, but he's just so lovable. Yeah, he was in Jeepers Creepers. Like, Justin Long in horror, he's just got this charisma about him. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, the actors just have it. Okay, he's never been the good-looking guy or the guy who's going to get Academy Awards, but he's just got this charisma on screen and things he brings to the roles. And for me, he brings something unique. Also, I have to talk about in this movie, the story structure. You essentially follow two people for the first half of this movie in a wacky situation, and it completely fucking does a 180 midway in a movie. A lot of movies, that's a very dangerous thing to do to your audience because it's jarring when you're following a certain set of people and then it just fucking switches perspective. I think this movie does it pretty flawlessly. Like, there's a few gaps here and there when it circles back around, but Barbarian was a very unique movie. They took a lot of chances, and I respect that. I think that it's bold, it's creatives. Oh yeah, Jeepers Creepers. You lose those peepers, Jeepers Creepers. Where you lose those sexy eyes? Yep. Zod, he's the equivalent of Scream Queen, so I guess he's the Scream King. Yeah, I would 100% agree with you, Rose. Justin Long has definitely cemented his place in horror. I think he's one of those actors that when you see him in a movie, you're automatically engaged. He's one of the few people that can bring that kind of likability to even the worst character. So Barbarian's my number 5. I think everybody's good. Even the lead actress that there's not really a bad performance in this movie. Now, there is some weird shit that happens that I'm not 100% sure on whether I really like it. That's why it's on my number 6, but it's very good. Yep, I lost my brush again. Number 5, and this was tough. This was a very tough one, and I'm not even confident in this choice, to tell you the truth, because I really fucking love this movie. But after doing some soul searching, thinking really hard about it, and swapping between these two, and either of them could have had the spots that they're at. But the number 5 movie for me is Pearl. Pearl is what's up, PB? I sent you a link. You can jump on, join this Halloween bash with my shitty hair. So my number 5 is Pearl. Pearl is an amazing fucking movie. Mia Goth, she is fantastic actress. She literally, this movie is focused all on her. Her performance quite literally is the thing that hinges, or the movie hinges upon being good, and she fucking knocks it out of the park. I have never in my life, and I mean this in all sincerity, you can take the greats, Jamie Lee Curtis, whoever. I have never seen any of them who have the acting capability that this young lady has. She is fucking amazing in this role. Pearl floored me, because the next movie is a little bit higher up, obviously, because it has more action in it, but this movie is pure acting, like pure acting on her shoulders. The only reason why this movie is lower is because it's weird, and it's a bold move for a trilogy, but it kind of makes some weird decisions. So what's up, Papa Cotton? Happy Halloween to you too. It makes some really interesting decisions that, even right now, I know that she did a great job, but I don't know how I feel about the story. Like, I knew where it was going to go, but that fucking ending, I'm not going to tell you the ending, but you see her acting range literally to the last frame of this movie. The ending of this movie literally had me just in awe at how good of an actress she really is, because there's something that she does, and me and Bitchy did a spoiler on this because we were so shocked and surprised. Pearl is one of those movies that we never knew we needed 3 of these movies to go with X, but quite honestly, this is just a showcase of a great director who's got a great talent, that he knows how to use the talent skills, and it's fucking amazing. I love this movie. And the only reason why this movie isn't higher is because there's just gets edged out just slightly by the other movies. But make no mistake, this is a fucking great movie. I loved it. And it was a tough choice. It was a tough choice. These top 5 movies were all very hard and very interchangeable. I could feel different next year. I could feel different tomorrow. Yeah, definitely Pearl is a great movie, worth watching. If you hadn't seen it, I highly suggest, especially if you like X, watch that movie to find out more about the old ass lady, how she basically snapped. And it's such a fucking engaging story. It's 2 hours, and I thought there's some musical numbers in it. I thought it was going to be weird, but it makes sense because it's from the mind of somebody breaking. This movie is about how someone just mentally breaks, and it's done so well. I really liked it. All right, the next movie. is a movie I got to preview. And no, actually that one's higher. Actually the next movie, sorry about that, was X. X is at number 4. And there's a specific reason why. And my next pick might be controversial to put above X and Pearl. But what can I say? X is a fantastic movie. I love it. All the characters are likable. You don't want stuff to happen to them that does. Mia Goth once again kills it, playing 2 characters, an old ass psychopath and the young porn star actress. And this movie's about porn. This movie is surprisingly good. This is one of those horror movies that took a lot of us in the horror community by surprise. It was such a great fucking movie. It's very rare that you see a horror movie with people you don't want to die. There was maybe one person I didn't like that when they died, I was like, okay. But for the most part, they do a good enough job fleshing everything out. The only reason why this is lower on my list is because X and Pearl, they rush the story in certain places where I want more. And maybe it's a nitpick, but I felt like there was a little bit more they could have done with the story. Just a few tweaks here and there to make it like a classic almost. But for what it is, it's great. And really for a follow-up to do just as well as this, and then we're getting a third film called Maxine, which has a triple X. So I like the play on the porn genre. I like how it all comes back to that. It explores the exploitation, but also the fact that there isn't nothing wrong with porn. There's a lot of questions of morality. I can definitely see what Ty West is doing with the movies and the exploitation genre, and kind of taking a really hard look at it. It's again falls in that elevated horror. I just think that he focuses too much on some things, and the more interesting things kind of get lost in the movie. So, both great movies, though. I love them both. But the controversial pick, I put Scream 2022 at number 3. This is a huge bias. I will admit it, but I fucking love this movie. I've had a panel on with Justin. I've talked with Killjoy Jake. I love Scream. Yes, Papa Cotton. Most of the audience is it's the hair. But I'm here to say that Scream 3 or Scream 2022 number 3 on my list. I loved it. I loved how yes, there is a thing about toxic fandom, but if you really watch the movie, it's making fun of everybody. It talks about the directors that create fans who then get split, and then that fan base becomes a little psychotic in their love for something. I think that this movie is a good way to explore that theme and not the other stupid shit that we've gotten. And the funny part is that the directors and things like that do exactly what this movie says that they do. Meanwhile, these directors not only respect the property, but they respect the fans, and they've come out and said numerous times that they do. I think that it's bold taking the Scream and franchise into a different direction, because quite honestly, Scream is on its 5th one now. This can become a Friday the 13th kind or Jason kind of thing, where it just gets tired and repetitious. The one thing it's got going is that because the killers always get killed, you can rotate them out. So I really like the choices in this. Now, the reason why it's not number 1 or number 2 or anything like that is because I do think it lacks in certain things that my top choices have. I think that the story could have been a little bit tighter. I think there is some bullshit logic that you have to go through. I'm making Oh, hey, Edom7. I'm making a random observation about live streamers. I'm guessing you like orange vitamin water. You own more than 2 toasters, but only one works. You know how to make a casserole. I do like Harry Potter, so you hit that one. And I don't like vitamin water at all. I do know how to make a casserole. I do have a toaster. It does work. Only need one. But very not bad. Eat 'em 7, not bad. But yeah. Um I I uh I definitely I definitely like Scream. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, that isn't bad. Um I definitely like Scream. It was pretty good. But these next 2 horror movies to me, why one of them might not be high art. I'll get into my explanation of why I like it, but the other one definitely came close to beating the first one. But um the first one I'll get into. So my number 2 of my top 10 is The Menu. The Menu is one of I got to see it early. The Menu is a brilliant, brilliant black comedy horror kind of movie. Robert Fiennes is terrifying. Anna Taylor-Joy is becoming quite possibly one of the best actresses working. John Leguizamo is amazing in this. The Menu is one of those movies that, especially because I cook, or if you even know a bit about cooking, it is so fucking funny because it deals with the snobby end of it, the food critics, the people who are pretentious and think that they know food just because they know the right words to say, but they don't fucking make food, but they sit there and they eat yours and they know how things should be, so they critique it. There's a lot of shit said in this movie that, as somebody who's been cooking for a long time, I love cooking shows too. So this movie really resonated with me. And Robert Fiennes is so fucking good in this movie. He reminds me of if Gordon Ramsay went psycho. And that's all I'm going to say because this movie isn't out and I don't want to ruin it. But he's very fucking, he's funny, but then he's very disturbing in movies. Anna Taylor-Joy plays more of our POV, but she's also very smart and kind of savvy on the shit that's going on. But there's other characters around that are also very hilarious. And there's this Anna Taylor-Joy's boyfriend is this pretentious food critic and is an absolute fucking asshole who brings her into this situation. So she's kind of like not planned to be at this thing that's going on. And when the shit starts to hit the fan, it's really interesting, the dynamic between her and Robert Fiennes. This is an excellent movie. I would put this in my normal top 10 movie list, but it has a lot of horror elements. And believe me, some crazy shit does start happening towards the end of the movie, or even like there's a point midway where shit gets flipped and it becomes wacky. It was one of the most unique movies that I saw, and quite honestly, it comes out November 11th. Go check it out. It's had a lot of buzz at festivals for a very good reason. I wish it would get nominated for some kind of award, but we all know awards are rigged. This horror movies will never get that unless it's like Silence of the Lambs, which happens like once every 10 years. They'll actually nominate a horror movie, but this should be the one that gets nominated. The acting across the board is fucking great. Everybody there's not a bad actor in this movie. Everybody plays off of each other well. This is an example of a well-crafted story, well-casted people. and just really fucked up, crazy scenario. I think the humor adds, if you're not a person who doesn't like gore, the humor adds to the fucked up shit that's happens in this movie, and it brings levity so that you're not always feeling like you know you don't want to continue watching. This movie begs for your attention, and it does a fine balance between humor, gore, and it does have a message in the movie, and it's a very good message, especially for people who are in the food industry. Like, I appreciate the message behind this movie because it's got something to say. So good for them. It's my number 2 movie. It deserves it. My number 1 movie, of course, is Terrifier 2. Look, Terrifier 2 Terrifier 2 is not a acting class movie. Terrifier 2 is not elevated horror. Terrifier 2 is not going for a fucking deeper meaning on anything. It is just a brutal, bloody, fucking nuts, crazy, fucked up movie made for people who like that by a director that specifically cares about the fans. And I gotta appreciate somebody like that. This dude kickstarted this movie. He made the first one and then moderately fine. This movie is almost up to 10 million, and it's on a crazy like 250,000 budget, 250,000. It was some astronomically low budget for the return. Terrifier 2 is a movie made for the people that like this franchise. Art the Clown is fucking terrifying. He is definitely in this movie cemented himself as a new horror icon. I could easily see 2 more of these movies. It's yeah, this is the top 10, and I'll recap the top 10 one more time, and then I'm going to get into my top 10 worst movies. There were a lot that way too, but yeah, I'll get I'll get into that. Anyways, this movie is a fan-made movie. It is 2 hours. It is the director who is giving something that the people who invested their time into his first movie and All Hallows Eve, he's even stated several times, this is a movie he wanted to make for people. And as long as they watch it and they appreciate it, that's all he cares about. And there's something humbling about that, because this is all done with practical effects. So it's not even a guy going, yeah, I'm doing this for the fans, but they skimp out on shit. No, every bit of that budget that he got from people supporting his movie, he put towards it, and he gave them a movie they wanted. And he didn't give a fuck about studio backing or censoring or making it watered down so the censors would be fine. There's been articles about talking about people are throwing up and we need to analyze violence in movies and shit. You know, shut the fuck up, okay? This is horror. People go to see a horror movie to be scared. Now, sometimes that falls into the psychological portion. Sometimes that falls into people being brutally murdered. But you know what you're getting into. When you see the fucking picture and you've heard what this movie is about, you as an informed adult can make the decision whether or not you want to see this. And if you do and you wind up throwing up, that's on you. That's not on the director. That's not on the film. I've never prescribed to that. And horror is a great example of a genre that constantly gets fucked over by censorship and Hollywood bullshit. And the studio, once something becomes big, tries to water it and sanitize it and make it clean so that little fucking teeny boppers can come into my theater and make a big fucking mess and act like a bunch of assholes. And this movie bucks that trend. This is a hard R. It won't even be released in some theaters. It's got a limited release because it is for adults, made by adults. And I respect that. Oh, no. No. Bitchy is in the room. We're going to watch Barbarian. Speaking of my top 10 list, we're gonna watch Barbarian later. But she's had a long day, so she's in the room relaxing. It was a bit of a day for both of us, but yeah. Terrifier 2 is my number one. It's mainly number one because I respect one, the quality between this movie and the first one jumps significantly. Practical effects, and I've talked about this in the horror movies in particular. I can't stand a lot of CGI. From what I could tell, there was like no CGI that I could see, and if it was there, it was very minimal. But I don't think there's any CGI in this movie. This was just a practical effects film. Yeah, it is. It makes an impression on Zod. It's likely the movie that messes with your head. Oh yeah, and I will get into some of the details, but not all of them. I really want people to see this movie, and I know it's on a very limited run, but I know if you get the chance, definitely you should see it in theaters. I unfortunately did not. I had someone who gave me a screener code so that I can see it. It's a very different experience, but I got the gist, and it's very, very well done. I really liked it. I think that there's a lot of potential for the third movie. I respect the fact that the director says he wants to do 3, maybe a 4. It depends on if he can get everything into the third movie. So he's not looking to capitalize. He just wants to make a good movie, and it shows. There's something about somebody who creates a movie and has a vision, and you can see that vision in the way they present it. And I really can respect somebody that has an artistic vision and they don't let anybody else fuck that vision up. And he goes to the fans, and when they back him, he gives them what they want. I haven't seen that in many, many years. You guys know, I'm surrounded by like this Marvel shit and Disney shit and all of these things with these pretentious assholes coming out and talking about how they don't need the fans. They don't need people to make their movies, and if you don't like it, don't watch it. Well, I choose not to watch half the shit. So that's why I like what Damon Lemon, I forget his name. I apologize, but the creator of Terrifier 2, I'll be looking it up later and giving you guys like the names of the actors and stuff, because I want to make sure everybody gets proper credit, because it's a really good movie and I would encourage people to see it. But there's a caveat and a warning. It is a very brutal movie. This fucking movie is brutal from the beginning to the end. And the kills somehow get worse as you go through the movie. It is fucking crazy. There's very few movies, especially when it comes to blood and gore, I can watch them and not be affected at all. But this one is it's oh boy, there's a lot of shit. And sometimes it's not the brutality of what Art is doing, but how he's doing it. And I'll explain with a couple of the kills later on in this, because I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen the movie. I'll have my spoilers thing going. But yeah, it's oh boy. Yeah. So that's my top 10 horror movies. And the top 10 is as follows. At number 10, we have The Hashling. Number 9 is Fresh. Number 8 is Incantation. Number 7 was Nope. Number 5 was Pearl. Number 4 was X. Number 3 was Scream 2022. Number 2 was The Menu. And number 1 was Terrifier 2. So if you missed the countdown, that's my order that I rank these. And Zod, you might want to check out Eli's Roth Urban Legends with new directors filming their takes on urban legends. First one was Unexpected. Yeah, I'll check that out. Let me know what that's on. I'll give it a look. I like Eli Roth. I've always loved him. He's one of my favorite, I think, most underrated directors. He's been doing this gore shit. They tried to remake his Cabin Fever, and it was so bad. He's a very unique, interesting director. So let's go to my top 10 worst movies that I've seen. And oh boy, thankfully we haven't gotten very many of these, but there have been some pretty horrendous horror movies. So my number 10 would be Men. And I rated this higher, and then I've rewatched it, and I've come to drop it and to almost not really like this movie. And why is because I like Alex Garland as a director. And the cinematography got me, but the story is too obscure. And the story is too unfocused. And like, I get the gist of what he's saying, but I think the way he delivers the message is very confusing. And like, I get it. I get what he's saying. I get about her trauma and stuff like that. And I do think somewhere in a perfect world, it's betterly conveyed. But honestly, the more I watch it, the more I think about it, it's really become one of those things where I watched this movie a couple of times, but I won't watch it again. And anything that I can't watch again, and Alex Garland's movies I've watched several times. Ex Machina, I like. Annihilation, I think, is very thought-provoking, but this just doesn't do it for me. Out of everything he's made, this feels very contrived, a little preachy, and I think he gets too heavy-handed in what he's trying to say. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with the way he delivers the message, and the ending is not one I can watch repeatedly. It's just like it's very fucking weird. Hey. Yeah, he does. He does get unfairly tagged with the torture horror porn because of Hostel. But like Cabin Fever and The Green Inferno and some other stuff he's co-produced or the Death Wish remake, which I thought was really good. But I'm on an island on that one. Yeah, I think he's very versatile, but he just got held into a kind of bullshit thing. Oh, Travel Channel. It's called The Red Room. It airs Friday. Thank you. I'll look it up. But yeah, I think it drops lower now. Hot take. I didn't like this, but I think given my discussions I've had, the taking everything into context, rewatching the movies, and then just a general anticipation, and now some things that have come out that the director has said, and the fact that now he's going to direct one of my favorite movies that truly terrified me as a kid, I'm going to say Halloween Ends. Now, I put it at number 9 because this movie has a lot of issues. And the main issue is that it's doing two very competing things, and they didn't have the balls to go with either or. The kills are really scaled down, and the biggest issue I have with this movie right now, and rewatching it for the review that I did with Justin and Killjoy and talking with PB, just my main issues with this is that it doesn't feel like it belongs in a trilogy of movies. And now if I was just rating this, I'd leave this off either tier list and it'd just be something I watch. But the fact that it was a trilogy, it gives me a lot of Star Wars vibes, because that was one where the centerpiece of that trilogy did not fit the first two movies. This is in a unique position because the ending doesn't fit the first two films, and the first two films actually set really good things up. I get the themes follow through. I get what he was going for, David Gordon Green, but I think it bites off more than it can chew, and not everything works. And I think it's a shame, because the fans could have gotten the closure that they've wanted for, like, I don't know how many fucking years. And like I said, I'm not personally attached to the Halloween like Chucky or Jason, but if that was one of those, I could understand how upset they are. And yeah, I will put it in my top 10 worst, because when you make a trilogy and you don't stick the landing, that's the most important part. You can fuck up the beginning, maybe something in the middle, but you can't fuck up the end. And especially when you have such a strong start. And then the fact that, he's come out and kind of just been a dick. He should have known. He expected the backlash. So I don't feel bad. And that's the thing where I talk about directors who just don't give a fuck about the people they're supposedly adapting shit for. It really is one of my pet peeves. And it's like, then don't touch the franchise. If you had no intentions of doing it justice, or you wanted to do your own thing, then go that route. But don't call people assholes now because they have a very strong opinion about something they like that you fucked up, and then call them idiots for it, because it was really marketed as Jamie Lee Curtis versus Michael Myers, and it really was not that movie. And it really does make people feel really tricked that they didn't get. And I can get behind doing something new, especially with a franchise that old. I just can't back the way everything was handled, marketed, and that the creative team knew. They told the actors they were going to be hated. There's a lot of shit coming out about this movie from the directors and the people who were in the film. So it kind of makes me think that you really didn't give a fuck, and you're kind of a dick. And it's a shame, because David Gordon Green does have a good eye for cinematography. I think he had some very good ideas. I don't think the Corey Cunningham story was necessarily bad. I just don't think it fits at third part of your fucking trilogy. But yeah, that's why I put it as my number 9 in my top worst list, because it is worse. It's worse because you fucked over your fan base at the end of the game. It's like you're winning the fucking Super Bowl, and then you just throw the game for no fucking reason, but just because I want to be different. I don't know. There's something scummy about it as it comes out, and it just rubs me the wrong way. So I have Halloween Ends as my number 9. Number 8 is Dash Cam. Holy fuck. I didn't want to say anything on Perp's channel because he had it up high on his, but look, this fucking movie is atrocious. And now I was warned about this, because there's only two types of people in this camp for this fucking movie. And don't get me wrong, I liked the director, I liked Host, thought it was a really great movie. But holy fucking shit, this movie has the worst fucking protagonist I have ever fucking seen in my life. This person who's supposed to be the hero of this movie is the most obnoxious, bitchiest, just massive cunt I've ever seen put to film. And I mean that with all my heart and soul. She is a cunt. She is a horrible human being who raps while she does this YouTube thing. And she talks about anti-vaccines and how and MAGA and all this shit. And I get what he was saying. He made a caricature, and it's not necessarily an attack on it. It's just highlighting the worst qualities of that side. And I've seen them. Okay, I get it. But when this movie came out, we were past that. So it's really almost like a movie that came out with this shit too late. Now, some of the special effects are really cool. What's going on with this is really interesting. But the fucking main character is an annoying really terrible cunt that I prayed would die. And spoiler, I'm just gonna fucking spoil it. The fucking bitch doesn't die. She fucking lives. And the one fucking person I liked gets fucking brutally murdered. I fucking hate this movie. This movie pissed me the fuck off. It was a fucking waste of time. Fuck this fucking movie. I would, if I had a hard copy of it, I would fucking piss on it, burn it, take the ashes out, and piss on the ashes. That's how much I hate this fucking movie. It was a goddamn waste of my time. And everybody was like, oh, dash cam, blah, blah, blah. And there's this whole camp who thinks it's like great or whatever. And some people who fall in the middle and say, oh, it's fine, it's whatever. No, it's fucking atrocious. And the fact that you do it's a weird choice to make your main hero a fucking unlikable fucking douchebag. I just can't get behind it. I fucking hate this movie. I would rate it higher if there weren't movies that were worse than this fucking movie, surprisingly. But yes, this movie is fucking terrible. This movie is fucking weird at this guy's career. And honestly, I don't know if I'll watch another movie of his because of this movie. That's how I feel. I fucking hated this movie. That's all I could say. I fucking hate it. And the only reason why it didn't make my number one is because my number one is so terrible that actually puts this movie just slightly under that. And this didn't make two because there's worse movies, and I'll get to them. But I fucking hated this movie. Don't watch Dashcam. It's a goddamn waste of time. I fucking hate it. Number 7. I know this isn't horror, but it was terrifying to me. Pinocchio. This movie is fucking scary. This movie should not have been made for kids. This movie should be labeled as a horror movie. This movie makes Tom Hanks look like the fucking creepiest weirdo I've ever seen put to screen. This is a fucking terrifying movie in all the wrong ways. The CGI in this fucking movie makes it look like it's unintentionally trying to be a horror movie. This movie is bad. It's a bad fucking edit. This movie is on the level of fucking Mulan bad. Except for at least Mulan wasn't terrifying. It just sucked. This movie is terrifying in the way that the CGI is done. The fucking island, and I told Bitchy because I was trying to warn her. I'm like, don't watch this movie. Don't watch it. Just because she likes Pinocchio, and I was like, don't fucking watch this movie. But seriously, this has to be on my top bad horror movies because to me it was fucking terrifying. This, like, the way that he was animated, this fucking movie is scary as shit. And then if you want to see something really terrifying, watching Tom Hanks fucking jump up and down in an ankle with a weird German kind of accent saying, my boy, that was fucking terrifying. I swear to God, this movie probably scared me more than the other movies above this. They're on the list because they're legitimately scary. This movie is on my list because it's supposed to be terrifying, but I'm going to be honest with you. This is probably the movie that scared me the most. I would not recommend you watch this with your kids because it's fucking terrifying. It's also, the story has changed a lot and the ending makes no fucking sense to how the story is supposed to go. Yeah. So my number 7 is Pinocchio. It's fucking terrifying. Man. Okay. So my number 6, Firestarter. I like Zac Efron. I saw Zac Efron in this movie about Ted Bundy. He did a very good job. He was on a hot streak. And then this fucking movie came along. Now, to preference this is one of my least favorite Stephen King movies, but I did watch the original Firestarter. And I got to say, after watching this remake, I have an appreciation for the original. This movie is fucking bad. And not just CGI wise, but just the laziness behind this. The only person who's really acting in this movie, bless his soul, is Zac Efron. Unfortunately, there's very little he can do with this script to make it any good. This is just a fucking bad movie. Bad CGI. The story doesn't make fucking sense. They changed some things, but the changes just make it confusing. So I have no clue what the fuck happened with this. It had potential based on the previews, but given the CGI in the previews, I did say, ooh, this might not be a good one. And why this is on my top 10 worst horror is because this is marketed as horror. And there is horror elements, especially to the poor kitty. But it's just bad. There's the jump scare sounds. They try to make her a superhero. There's a weird scene with a Native American that was never in the first one. Doesn't get explained. A lot of shit in this movie doesn't get explained. Just things happen and then the movie ends. It's a fucking confusing mess. I hated it. I don't hate it on the level as my top ones, like angry hate it. It's just a weird choices that I didn't fully understand. And it feels like that in better hands, this could have been a very interesting movie, like given the Firestarter brand a horror spin and maybe making the girl's powers like kind of like a horror thing. And she doesn't realize she's killing people and she's kind of like the monster, like Brightburn did. I really love Brightburn. But this wasn't it. This movie was fucking bad. And worse than that, it was fucking boring. An hour of this movie is just so fucking tough to get through. And then like the last half hour or whatever is like all of the action. And then even with the action, it doesn't make fucking sense. Honestly, I feel bad for Zac Efron because it feels like he's trying, even though this could be a paycheck movie. It does feel like he's putting in effort and his fucking wasted on this film. Absolutely wasted. They make him an asshole, but then try to make him likable, and it just doesn't fucking work. And he's acting his ass off to try to make this role work, but even he can't make this script work. It's a fucking terrible script. The fucking dialogue is atrocious. The lighting is god awful. Some of the scenes are like a puke blue tint kind of weird shit. I don't know where the fuck they were filming or what lens they were using. It's a bad movie. It's just a bad movie. And it's almost like a movie that they didn't give a shit about making. So that's why that is my number 5 choice. Now let me talk, or number 6 choice. My number 5, we're getting into the top 5 worst movies. These are the really bad stinkers. And oh boy, I'm a huge fan. I'm a massive fan, and I can't wait for Guardians of the Galaxy with Kevin fucking Bacon. But this movie, this horror movie, They Them, is the worst fucking horror movie I have seen in a very long time. And part of me respects that Kevin Bacon want to tell this story and he's dealing with this with his kid or whatever. And I think Kevin Bacon just in general is a good dude. He's a cool dude. He strikes me as that guy who's a nice guy. He's always been interactive with his fans or whatever else. But this movie is a pretentious fucking awful movie. I fucking hated this movie. These movies I'm getting into now just made me enraged. And they really made me enraged because Kevin Bacon is a great actor, and I could tell this is a passion thing for him, but they wasted. Hey, Werewolf Jeeves, happy Halloween. These are my top 10 worst movies. You can go back and see my top 10 best. I'm on number 5, so I might go back, but we're getting to the final 5 worst movies that I've seen in horror for 2022. So strap in. These ones are going to be quite a few rants before I then finish this off with a quick little review of my number 1 horror movie of this year, Terrifier 2. Anyways, so They Them. It's a story about, and I'm going to read this synopsis, but basically a group of teenagers at an LGBTQ plus conversion camp endures unsettling psychological techniques while being stalked by a mysterious masked killer. And now look, on paper, that's not bad. Kevin Bacon's performance as this head counselor is not bad. It's very good. But Kevin Bacon has done some pretty fucking horrendous horror movies, and I just don't think horror is his jam. He is too over the top with his performance. Like he's hamming it up. And it's a shame because it really detracts from his just natural ability as an actor. Hey Kreml, what's up? Yes, I got my Halloween hair. I'm talking about my top 10 best horror, and right now I'm on my top 10 worst. I'm at number 5, They Them, with Kevin Bacon. And you're hearing basically how this movie hurt my soul. This movie hurt me because I really wanted to like this film. I tried, folks. I fucking tried. I made excuses, but this script is so fucking atrocious. The killer is fucking obvious. The message is too heavy-handed. I refuse to believe that like half the shit that happened would go down realistically. And I tried. Look, I don't have a high tolerance for shit like this messaging stuff in films, but for Kevin Bacon, I tried, man. I tried. I really wanted to like this movie. Like, when I tell you, I really didn't want to hate this. I didn't want to put it on a worse list. I know it was personal for Kevin, and I don't dislike him as an actor. I respect what he was trying to do, and I get he's trying the message of it's okay to be who you are and all that. I get it, dude, and I respect it. But this fucking movie is terrible. It is fucking god awful. The characters are not likable. They're all pretentious, uppity fucks, and I'm just like, no wonder why you're there. You're there because your fucking personality is terrible. All these characters are terrible human beings, and they try to get away with this. They try to get away with this, with them being bad by the fact that they're gay or trans or whatever. And it's like, that's not how that works. You can be gay or trans or identify as whatever and still be a terrible fucking human being. That doesn't exempt you from the bad shit you do. And like, I kind of rooted for the killer by the end of this. Like, and Kevin Bacon was the worst out of all of them because he plays the whole, we've got to convert you because you're living in sin. It's just, and the thing is, the beginning of the movie is not that bad. It's intriguing, but it just falls off a cliff by the middle to the end of the movie where you're just rolling your eyes and you're like, what the fuck am I watching? And I'm really sorry. This hurts. This hurts me. Kevin, this hurts me. And I want to put you on number 4, okay? Or number 5. Tried to put you as low as possible, Kevin. But unfortunately, you weren't as bad as a movie that has fucking low effort, Kevin. Like, come on, man. Stop doing horror. This isn't your genre. You want to tell this story, like do a dramatic piece or something, but this movie's fucking terrible. Terrible movie. Number 4, The Invitation. This movie, holy fucking shit. I did a review on this. This movie is the most low effort fucking vampire film. Spoilers, I'm sorry. It's a vampire movie. Don't fucking waste your time. It's a PG-13 vampire movie. I was excited. I like the vampire genre. I would like to make it have a boom again, but fucking Twilight killed it the first time. This movie completed the job. This movie is fucking horrendous. I fucking hate The Invitation. This movie was a goddamn waste of fucking 2 hours. And why the fuck did you make this piece of shit 2 hours and you did absolutely not a fucking thing? Not a my God. Okay, so The Invitation is about this African American lady. She is decent looking and she's a good actress. This actress is fucking wasted in this movie. Okay, she gets a invitation to this wedding from some people she never knew she was related to, and they're all white vampire people. To see where this is going, this movie, and here's the thing. Here's the thing that baffles me about this movie is that the aesthetic and the premise of this movie had a real shot to be interesting. And God help her, this actress is really good. She's really trying hard. I do not fault her at all. She tried her best to make this fucking piece of shit movie work. And hold on, I want to get the her name is Nathaniel and Mel. She's really good in this movie. Everybody else fucking sucks and is not worth bringing up. The main girl in this movie is intelligent. She's got an interesting backstory. She makes the world intriguing. And then this movie does fucking nothing with this premise. And about the last fucking 10 minutes of the movie is this fucking terrible, like 1998 CGI. I'm sorry, it's more 2000s CGI fucking vampire fight fest. And the movie is fucking over. And it labels itself as a horror movie, but it's really like a gothic romance horror at the end kind of movie. It was fucking atrocious. This thing's a piece of shit. This movie is a goddamn fucking waste of time. This movie, I wanted the vampire genre so bad to come back. I haven't seen a good fucking vampire movie since like Interview with the Vampire. I miss those fucking movies, but we get the invitation because they think these teenagers are the ones making this because of fucking Twilight. They think the teenagers is the audience, and guess what? No one gives a fuck about this genre anymore because basically Twilight and fucking what was the other one that killed this genre? But they've killed this genre, and it needs a revitalization because this is not how you do it. This was a fucking bad movie. It was boring. It was slow. And the last 10 minutes go so fucking fast that everything that they slow the fucking movie down to focus on doesn't mean anything. Everything literally gets resolved in 20 minutes. I shit you not. I sat there for fucking almost an hour and a half, an hour, 40 minutes. And the last 20 minutes of the movie, they go zoop, speed pass. And I'm like, where the fuck is the rest of the movie? Did you guys fucking run out of time? Did you look at your clock and go, oh shit, we got to wrap this shit up, boys. Let's get the fuck out of here. Fuck you. You motherfuckers wasted my goddamn time. You set me up. You fucking build the world. You make this fucking goth romantic fucking vampire movie thing, and I'm into it, okay? You hook me a little bit. There's some horror shit going on, and then you just fucking speed pass through the 20 minutes, and you go, there you go. Here's your fucking popcorn. Have a nice day. Fuck you. Fuck this movie. This movie was more infuriating than the dash cam. And you saw what I said about dash cam. But to actually put a decent story and then fucking speed through the last 20 minutes and not explain a goddamn thing after I wasted an hour and a half paying attention to this fucking boring, pretentious fucking movie. And then you go zoop and you just fucking speed past everything. Oh my God. Superman plushie at the shows where he hurts the most. My number one won't have even enough fingers to point his way. We're going. Yeah, these are going to be rants. Because, oh boy, the next movie is a new movie. And this battled the movie that was going to be on here until I fucking called it. Pray for the Devil. This is such a fucking... Now, how do I put this? No, it's terrible. This movie is a fucking... if you looked at this poster and you said to yourself, go and see that, I want to go and see, don't fucking see this movie. This movie is a generic fucking ripoff of one of my favorite movies of all time, The Exorcist. This movie takes what The Exorcist and The Last Exorcism and good fucking possession movies done, and it takes the basics and puts it in a hollow fucking shell with no soul, no fucking motive, just beat by beat the same shit you've seen in every fucking possession movie. This movie is infuriating because it is a by the numbers fucking movie. This Pray for the Devil is one of the most mediocre films. And why it's number 2 is because I have a special attachment to movies like The Exorcism and shit like this. Calling this movie one of those makes me want to fucking throw up. This movie is so fucking cheap and it scares. This is one of those movies. And it's not even offensive. There's no real messaging. That's not what I mean. It's offensive in the way that it doesn't try to do anything new. And don't get me wrong, the first 5 or 10 minutes has a pretty interesting premise, right? The first female exorcist. This is an actual thing that happened to the Catholic Church. You have a good setup. Her backstory is a little interesting, and they do fucking nothing but the same bland bullshit they've done for this genre since The Exorcist. If you can't make a good exorcism movie, then just fucking stop. This is clearly made for the fucking stupid teenage crowd that could just get into it because it's PG-13 and they can't go see Halloween, which is what they really want to see anyways. I had a coworker, okay? She's younger than me. I had No, I don't have faith in the Exorcist remakes after Halloween ends because David Gordon Green is making that. And they're making it a trilogy. That scares me. That movie was only made to be one movie. But anyways, Pray for the Devil. I had a coworker go, it's not scary, it's a joke, it's bland, it's boring, and I hated it. You can tell people that from my review. That this was someone who went to see it that day with another friend. They laughed. And this is supposed to be geared towards scaring that younger audience. They fucking laughed in the theater. They said it would have been better if it was marketed as a comedy. And I 100% agree. The CGI is fucking everywhere. And it's the same bullshit you've seen with the person running up the wall and they go, ah, and all this shit. There's like 1 or 2 good scenes that are good because they're so fucking funny in the way that they're executed. And that's what makes it funny. Like there's this overly misogynistic priest, which I can believe because, you know, whatever. And he goes into, he's like, oh, step back, I got this. And then the girl fucking, you know, does the psychic thing and knocks him across the room. That got a chuckle out of me because it was so fucking ridiculous. And I knew what was coming. Like, this movie is so painfully generically mediocre that it makes it number 2 on this list because it's an insult to call itself a fucking horror movie. It's an insult in how it explains its stuff to the audience. And it's an insult to horror because they peddle 50 of these fucking movies out that make horror look bad. And in a year when we've had great horror, this fucking piece of shit comes out and it just like, it soils the name. It's a fucking terrible movie. Don't waste your fucking time. I would even say if you have a chance to stream it, maybe if you're fucking bored and there's nothing else in the world you've seen, yes, maybe watch this because you might have some kind of enjoyment. But this movie was fucking bland. It was typical. I could literally, this is like a script that I've seen 1,000 fucking times and I wish they stopped doing it. Fuck this movie. Fuck this director. Fuck the production company behind this. This was fucking terrible. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed that you released this even by Halloween Ends and Black Adam. Are you fucking serious? And you thought this fucking knockoff, cheap, generic pile of shit was going to make money? And this is the Halloween movie they choose to release. It's a fucking insult. I want to spit right now. I'm so angry. Yeah, exactly, Kreml. You know, you think about a movie like The Exorcist or even the last Exorcism or The Devil Inside Me. There was another one which was like a found footage where this lady was documenting her mom's possession. Like interesting shit like that that did something new. And like, yeah, maybe it didn't land for some people, but that they have fucking attempted something new. And then every year, without fail, you get these generic fucking ripoffs that don't do nothing new. We've seen it done before. They're gonna do the same, walking on the walls, eyes rolling, talking in tongues, and it's fucking lazy. And it screams you don't give a fuck about your audience. You think they're a bunch of fucking idiots, and you expect them. Yeah, I hated it. Yes, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. That's also one of my favorites too. Very good. That was a unique angle. You saw the trial from that. Like there were movies that try, and then there's this fucking pray for the devil. This is just your standard by the numbers. They want cheap scares. They want to get the little teeny audience in there and make a quick buck, and that's it. And I fucking fell for it because I was like, female exorcist, there might be a new angle there. No, they do fucking nothing with it. It's brought up for like 4 times in the movie, and then they just fucking forget about it, and they show you the same shit you've seen over and over again. But our number one is the most infuriating on this list. And the number one, the biggest asshole of these top 10 assholes for the worst horror movies, the absolute worst, Jeepers Creepers Reborn. This movie is bad on so many levels. I'm a fan of Jeepers Creepers. And look, the original director did some heinous shit and is hopefully going to face those crimes. But it explains why the story was so good, because clearly he was a fucked up individual. No, but I mean, it's not a joking matter. Like the dude from the original Jeepers Creepers, Victor Salva, was implicated in a lot of fucked up shit. And I get it. This is the laziest cash grab I have ever seen. I know Perp hasn't finished the movie, and I wish I didn't. If I was in a theater, I would have done what he did and walked out. And Perp has watched a lot of fucking horror movies. He's also watched a lot of bad movies. And for him to even acknowledge how this movie is bad. The acting is bad. The cinematography is non-existent. They fucking walk and you can see the green screen like they didn't even fucking shoot on location. Like they shot the whole movie in a fucking lot, put up a green screen, and use that for the backgrounds. This movie is the epitome of low effort in film. The dialogue is atrocious. The situation is atrocious. How the creeper is brought back makes no fucking sense. Why the fuck he's after a baby randomly that this girl had makes no sense. I don't buy that this girl and the guy in the fucking movie are dating, because that is the weirdest fucking couple I've ever seen. They virtually don't talk to each other, and then all of a sudden by the end of the movie they care, and they have to stop the creeper from taking the baby because they're in love. But half the fucking movie they spent saying about how they hate each other. This fucking movie makes no sense in any conceivable way. How the fuck this piece of shit got greenlit? How somebody, and whoever you are out there, whoever you are who looked at that script and you said, yeah, this is great. This is going to make us some money. I fucking hope you fall in a very large hole with spikes in it. I hope you and the rest of the people who approved this are all in a giant hole with huge spikes. And you all get impaled. And the script goes somewhere else. You are the most incompetent, worthless pieces of shit to ever film anything. Jeepers Creepers 3 is a fucking Reborn. So it's 4. Jeepers Creepers Reborn is a fucking disgrace to horror. I feel sick that it's labeled horror. This movie is fucking low effort. It is the worst. It is the fucking bottom of the barrel. This movie shouldn't exist. You shouldn't have fucking made it. And whoever approved this fucking piece of shit should really be strapped into a car and flown off of a fucking cliff. Shame on you. All you fucking execs who aren't checking on these fucking projects, you need to fucking swing by and see what the fuck your directors are doing. This is the worst movie in every fucking way a movie could possibly be bad. I'd almost forgive it if it was a fucking comedy, because it's so bad it could be a fucking comedy, but it sure as fuck ain't a horror movie. Not like any horror movie I've ever seen. Maybe if it was a horror comedy, I would almost say, hey, you fucking nailed it. But this piece of shit is supposed to be a continuation to one of my favorite fucking horror franchises in Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. You put this fucking abomination, and look, Jeepers Creepers 3 wasn't the best, but I'd even watched that fucking movie before I ever watched this piece of shit. I really fucking hope that this movie did so fucking horrible that you fire everybody involved with this fucking piece of shit and you hire a completely different team. Fuck it. A new studio, a new fucking pair of execs. I don't give a fuck. This is the worst fucking movie in existence, I think. I'm not even using hyperbole. I'm not being funny. This movie is the worst fucking movie I have seen this year. It is bad. It is a bad movie. It's not just a bad fucking continuation. It is a badly shot, badly acted, badly directed. The special effects look like shit. The creature looks like shit. The fucking makeup looks like shit. Everything in this movie looks like shit. Even your fucking practical effects looks like the makeup people had the fucking day off. How the fuck can you see the mask line of the fucking creeper? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you telling me you are so fucking lazy you didn't check the shot to see you could see a fucking line there where the makeup goes? Are you fucking kidding me? Even the fucking show on Sci-Fi where they make the fucking, they make the creatures or whatever. I forgot. It was a great show. But they do the fucking horror makeup. Their shit looks better than anything in this fucking movie. And the cherry on top, the fucking piece de resistance in this movie. How dare you at the end of this fucking film? And spoilers, I don't give a fuck, because trust me, I'm saving you fucking time by spoiling the shit out of this fucking horrendous movie. The piece de resistance of this fucking movie is when she takes a spike and puts it through the fucking creeper's eyes and says, how you like those peepers? What? That doesn't make sense. He's still, even in the context, that doesn't make sense. Nothing in this movie makes sense. Fucking Jeepers Creepers Reborn is the worst movie. It's number 1 on this list. Avoid this fucking movie like herpes. This is the worst fucking movie. I'm just going to be bold here. I'm going to be bold and say there will not be a movie in 2022 I will see worse than this motherfucking movie. And the sad part is this movie got released when we actually had good horror. But I know you can't win them all, but this movie is a fucking abomination. This movie in general, the fucking room, the room with, hey Mark, the room, that movie is a fucking masterpiece compared to this fucking movie. And I mean that not joking. I mean literally, that movie is 150 times better than me having to sit through this fucking movie ever again. I will not watch this movie. I will fucking punch somebody if they ask me to watch this fucking movie with them. I will be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? No, you get the fuck back. Don't even talk to me for the rest of the night. That's how much this movie fucking offends me. This is the worst fucking movie I've ever seen. Oh yeah, you're dressed as the Black Phone. That's a weird one. Jeepers Creepers Reborn is fucking terrible. It's a waste of time. Even if you're curious and you're like, oh, Zod, you ranted a lot. Now I have to see. No, don't endorse this movie. Don't give these motherfuckers any bit of revenue. Don't even fucking watch it for free. I don't even want them having the fucking click. I want this movie. I want every other copy of this movie, including the fucking originals. I want them to be found. I want them to take every copy of it, right? I want them to dig a hole. I want them to fill that hole with a shit ton of gasoline, right? I want you to throw those in there, and I just want someone to light, match, lighter, whatever. I'm not fussy. Throw that fucker in there and burn every fucking copy, the negatives, the fucking original, the fucking person who penned the script. Throw him in that fucking hole too. Everything about this movie, I want fucking burned, buried, and forgotten about for all of time. I wish I hadn't watched this fucking movie. And I watched the Serbian movie, and I wish I never saw that. But this, I would fucking watch the Serbian movie again. This movie is fucking bad. It's an insult. It got me pissed. It got me pissed, legitimately pissed off that this is what they do with this movie. That's a funny one, Brett. Levi says, don't you fucking watch this movie. Yeah, dude, Jeepers Creepers Reborn is fucking terrible. It's trash. It's like bottom of the barrel fucking garbage. I fucking hate it. It's bad. And really, I don't like doing this. I'm not that guy, but I am a villain. I really wish terrible things on everybody involved in making that movie. I really do. Except for the artists, because they already get shit enough. But everybody involved, and especially the people who pen that script, I really hope the worst shit happens to you in life. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. The fact that you put this shit out into the world, there is a special place in hell for you. You took one of the most interesting franchise, did not understand anything about it, and you fucked it. Worse than the guy who murdered people and couldn't continue the movie. Okay? I'd rather that director than these fucking people. This is an abomination. This is an affront to horror. There is not one person, and I am not joking. There's not one person I know, one person I've seen, one person in the horror movie community that likes this movie, that has a nice thing to say about this movie, that thinks this movie that can even compliment this movie. There is literally, this is one of those rare cases where there's a movie that has no redeeming qualities. This is that movie. A movie so bad that it shouldn't exist in our world. And this is that film. And I'm not being like over dramatic here. This is that movie. It is especially if you like the original Jeepers Creepers, don't see this movie because it will piss you off. They fuck up the lore. None of it makes sense. It's just like somebody had another script and they penned Jeepers Creepers shit all over it. And, they said, they're horror fans. They're fucking stupid. They'll go see it. Fuck you. You wasted my time, and I don't give a fuck. If this studio is doing this, I can live with Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. That's all that exists. They made nothing after that. Fuck it. Anyways, so, a Serbian movie, Brett. You can look it up. I would suggest maybe never watching that movie. That's all I got to say about that. It's one of those movies. It's not a bad movie, but it probably shouldn't exist. I'll leave it at that. It's boy, it's a Serbian movie, Brett. It's a Serbian movie. It's one of those things like when someone tells you not to watch it and then you watch it and you go, why the fuck didn't I listen to the person who told me not to watch this movie? It's one of those movies. I could tell you some scenes, but I'd be demonetized from YouTube. They'd probably actually take my channel completely off. That's how bad a Serbian movie is. Hey, cutie. How you doing? Fat. You're not fat. You're beautiful. Anyways, yeah. Yeah. Brett, go into that. I'd look up shit first before you even attempt to watch it. Let me just. I think Crummel. It's an abomination. Yeah, I think Crummel puts it right. Yeah, anybody who's in that sort of region or something, it's one of those. It's a foreign film. It's one of those movies that borders on a real life kind of snuff film, but it's a movie. And look, I don't think necessarily it's a bad movie, but at the same time, like from a film perspective and the message, but I don't think it should have ever been made. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just one of those movies. It's themes I don't think the world is ever ready for. The shit they show, I don't think anyone's ever ready to ever watch anything like that. Like, I have a very movable line. There's a lot of shit I can see, a lot of shit I could tolerate. Doesn't faze me. Serbian film crosses that line and then doesn't come back. It just stays across that line. And it's kind of like the theory of watching a train wreck where you can't look away to the very end. And then you sit back and you need to take a shower. You feel dirty inside. And you feel like you have just witnessed something you shouldn't have. You are one of the few people who has seen something that you should not have seen. And then you question everything about your life, whether it was worth it. Yeah, it's a movie. Well, then go ahead and play your music. Well, then they'll just hear it. Just play it. I'm almost done. I just got my review to do. They're beautiful. So, last on my list, I'm going to talk a little bit about, hey, Perp, hop on. I was just about to get into Terrifier, and if you have time, I would like to have one more person on this panel. I went through my top 10 best horror movies and my top 10 worst, and you'd be proud of me. Number 1 is Jeepers Creepers Reborn. So, I sent you a link in several of your things if you want to hop on. Jump on. Let's talk about Terrifier 2. I got a little bit before I have to hop off. Cause this this is my number one. It was my number one horror movie. So why is Terrifier 2 number one? Oh, hey, Jenny. What's up, Jenny? I haven't seen you in a while. I was hoping everything was okay. Good to see you here in chat. Yeah. Crummel. Yeah, that's a Serbian movie, Serbian movie in a nutshell. This shit is crazy. I don't even know how. I'll be honest, and this is just like not hyping something up. I have no clue how the fuck that movie was made. I'll be perfectly honest with you. There's a lot of movies that get a banned, and I say, oh, maybe they went like overboard or whatever. But this movie is one of the rare exceptions where I was like, how the fuck was this movie like made? Like, and more accurately, the person who made it, I honestly feel like they might need psychiatric help or possibly a hug, some therapy, maybe a puppy, maybe they didn't get enough love as a child. I don't know. It was. There he is. Here he is. Happy Halloween, Art. How are you? Glad you can join us.
I guess it didn't even feel like Halloween because it like rained. I guess all the kitties, but then early as fuck. It was just like streets are
So
dead.
let me ask you something. My number one for my top 10 horror movies. Number 2 was The Menu, but number 1 was Terrifier 2. Does this shock you? Are you like, oh my god?
Nah, well, it definitely should be up at the top.
I
just
put
watched
Scream
it.
at 3.
I
So
just
I know
watched
I'm gonna catch some hate for that.
I just watched Terrifier 2 again like last night.
So let's go over this, and I'm gonna put up my little ticker up because I know that I think it was Carrie. She said she was gonna put this in the background because she's going to see this, and she didn't want it spoiled. So but yeah, spoiler warning. Oh, okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. You can message me about it later, Jenny. But I'm glad things are somewhat working out. Hopefully it's better. But yeah, we're gonna have spoilers. So spoiler warning. I don't have my ticker on because we changed it to Black Adam spoilers, and I don't feel like fucking editing it. So spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Holy
everybody
fucking shit,
everybody dies.
Dude, everybody fucking dies. I thought the chick with the angel wings was gonna live.
Yeah, she did live, but she was the only one.
But like, okay, but like, now is she supernatural? Because she should have died.
Yeah. But it's just like if you're gonna bring something in that's supernatural, you need something else to counter that.
So let's talk about. I don't even know where the fuck to begin with this movie. Because everybody is just so brilliant.
Art doing his own laundry and cleaning up after himself.
Oh my god. Oh, I was saying from the opening of this movie, like from the opening. So this movie picks up right where Terrifier 1 left off, in that fucking garage thing. Art had blown his brains out. He's taken to the morgue to presumably he's dead. Comes back to life, fucks up that poor morgue guy. Dude, that morgue guy got it so bad. Holy fuck. And
I've watched both Terrifier and Terrifier 2 pretty well, but it's pretty obvious. Like if you're a female, I feel bad for you. But if you're a male, males do not get it as worse as females. Like,
I mean, like I'm conflicted here because yes, he does tend, and I think there is something, and this is my only real nitpick, and I'm just nitpicking because my score for this movie is a 10, But honestly, there is a few things, and it's little things I think will get explained later. But there's something in his past, particularly about females. I don't know what it is. I don't know, but I get the feeling as if there's some kind of abuse there or something. Don't you get that kind of like he really likes messing in particular?
Something about brunette. There's not many blondes, but something about brunettes he likes too.
Yeah. It was a very there's a scene with a belt and some nails. Was that like a belt? It was like a rubber thing with some nails
No,
on it.
he had the first one. That's what he was beating. What's her face with? In the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's his like kind of little favorite little weapon.
He's got some favorite tools, and he.
You know what? You know what it is about Art? He's a cheater. You know what I'm saying? Because he does not play by any rules or anything like that. He's not like Mike Myers, where he has this Batman like I don't like guns rule and shit. Like no, this motherfucker will pull out a gun on you, bro. Like when you least expect it.
Yeah, and Crummel, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that your dad is fine.
What's going on with everybody tonight?
Yeah, man. Jeez, what a. I'm sorry to hear that. In all seriousness, I hope everything's okay. Crummel's been here for a while, a long time fan, and my best wishes to your father. I hope that it's that sounded serious, but I hope everything turns out okay. But yeah, so Art has an accomplice in this.
Yeah, and there's a lot of mystery surrounding her character, like because I was like trying to catch it the second time with the news clip, paper clipping, whatever. And I think they kind of teased it at the end with the post credit scene, exactly what Art is doing. And some people that don't like Halloween Ends, I think this is a better version of that. As far as Art kind of passing down like that.
Oh yeah. Boy, that was
Nasty.
That was nasty.
What's your favorite kill though?
My favorite kill, I would have to say, would be the it would be the one with
The bedroom?
when he goes and mutilates that one girl. I forgot her
Yeah,
name.
yeah. It was the Allie.
Allie, yeah. I like
But
Allie.
she deserved it though, because like I was like, all you had to do was give him some candy. That's all he wanted. You had to get you had to be a bitch about it. Like it's just it's hard to feel bad for her, but it's just like you should have just gave up the candy, lady. Like
yeah, so Art and I like to talk about this actor. This actor is very good who plays Art. Hold on, I'm looking up
David Howard Thornton.
David Howard Thornton, yes. David Howard Thornton has a very hard job. A lot of Art's expressions are through physical, because he doesn't talk. It's a lot of facial expressions and shit he does as a clown. I've got the scenes up here. You can see, and David Howard Thornton is Art. It's like one of those situations where Robert Englund is Freddy, right? He's got that thing. He's got that thing, and I wasn't on board after Terrifier 1 with calling him a new horror icon or whatever. But after this movie, honestly, I'm ready to be like, yeah. There's a
just
new
like
guy on the block.
Because it's like I go like because we also got to think like, well, what do we qualify as a horror icon just because they've been around the longest? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because people say like, we'll say like, oh, it's overhyped. But it's like I'm pretty sure Halloween was overhyped when it first came out. Like, and then it just blew up, it became, what it was now. But what I like about Art is just his kills. That's why I go by. Like, how does his kills stack up against some of the best. Like, because to me, I think he has some of the best kills just offered just because of his brutality and stuff and whatnot.
Oh yeah, yeah, and some of the shit is just gnarly. Just for you, what was the grossest kill for you? Like that trick or treat
I
one was
think
gross for me, just
that
because.
one was extra, but I was just like, she kind of had that coming. The one that I was like, yo, like art does not play fair is the bathroom, and that's why I was like, yo, I'll never look at bed and bathroom beyond whatever the fuck it's called ever again. Like just because it makes me think about those two scenes, just the bedroom scene and the bathroom scene, just where
Oh
he
man,
uses his new toy, but he psychs you out by using acid, throws acid on her first, and then like starts to go to town and just cracks her. Oh God, that shit was. I
and
felt
I
that shit.
didn't see the acid thing coming. This is what makes art unique. Is that okay? Like Ghostface has a butcher knife. Like Jason's pretty versatile, but for the most part, it's the giant machete. Everybody
Art has a
has
trash
kind of
bag.
a signature kill weapon, but
Mhm.
Art has tons. Like
He's an
motherfucker uses
artist.
a gun.
That's his that's his paintbrushes though. Like when you really think about it, like his little trash bag of like weapons and stuff. That's just like paintbrushes and utensils and stuff to create his art.
So, a brief little plot of this is that basically this is after the first movie, and he's resurrected. There's really not an explanation. I think we'll get more into it, but I was saying if you watch the movie Hallows Eve or All Hallows Eve, it does kind of explain art a little bit, but I don't think a lot of people have watched that. It was a very low budget, but that was where art first made his appearance. And it's kind of suggested that he's like a person from hell or
It could probably be just because like, I feel like art is like an amalgamation of just all different slashers that we've seen. Like he has the supernatural things like he can fuck with you in your dreams type shit like Freddy. Which that's interesting. Like I feel like that's kind of like what connected those two or why he kind of had her as a target, or maybe she's always been that target. Once we get kind of more backstory on the father and stuff like that,
but
because a
yeah,
lot of people. I was
there
gonna
was
say,
something with those two. I feel like they were connected. And this is what I like more about this movie. There's not a lot of story, but there's enough story to kind of set up this intriguing
yeah,
world. We have a protagonist now, and I gotta say, what's her name? I'm going to who Lauren
Lavera,
Lavera. Yeah,
yeah,
I
she's
I
dope.
gotta say she's very likable. Very cool final girl. I like her attitude. I liked the costume. There was a lot of symbolism in this movie, and she wears like this angel wings
Yeah,
and gold kind of like almost like a
and,
Valkyrie.
and you notice there's symbolism throughout the whole shit. Like like when she was wearing the butterfly shirt and stuff like that. She was wearing black and white shirts and stuff like just little hints and stuff in the background, just in front of you. But also the mom was dope too.
Oh,
Um,
oh yeah, yeah. The mom was
the
pretty good.
there was one scene I don't know if you caught it. I caught it the first time I saw it. But the second time I was like, oh, that was pretty dope. How she kind of improv where like they're kind of sitting there talking and Sienna takes like a drink. It looked like she spilled it on herself, and she's like, "Oh, it's something like your shirt," and she kind of improvs and kind of goes with it. So it's pretty dope.
You know what? No, see, I've only gotten to watch it once. I had a friend of mine who did a little access thing, but it's hard for me to we don't have it over here in theaters, so I had to do like an access code to be able to see it. Um, and then after you use it, you can't use it again.
Mhm.
So, that really sucks. But
Just
I'll
get
tell you
screen,
what,
just get
I really
Screenbox.
only
You can
needed
watch
one
it.
time.
It's coming out in 4K, so I'm gonna definitely get it in 4K.
Oh, do you know when
I think
it's coming out? Huh?
December. I think in like December.
December. Okay.
Yeah. They got a Steelbook coming out too, like a Blu-ray Steelbook, but I want to get the 4K.
See, this is where I get that physical old school media kid. Like I want all the shit to it. So to give a little background, because you posted an article, and I was glad you came because how much money did this make as of now, and how much was the
Like 8
budget?
million.
So it
8
did
million.
48 million,
No, like 8 million. Not
8
48
million.
million. Yeah, I
And
wish it
what
made
was the
48
budget?
million. That'd be crazy. The budget was like 250K.
So 250,000, and it made 8 million. Folks, that is that's not even doubling your budget at that point. And yet the quality of this film, there's a lot of films that are made for, and I don't get me wrong, 250K for a project is nothing to sneeze at. Like I'm talking with Killjoy Jake, and he's talking about like just the money he's working with, and it's still a constraint. So they got a
Yeah,
250K
that's
is good.
what's crazy. That's what's crazy. It's just like, yo, they get so creative in this movie, and it's like, it's low budget, but you see the budget going up. It feels like you're watching like a brand new movie type shit. But I always say like, yo, imagine what he could do with like just $1 million budget, because like Pearl and like X were made on like $1 million budget and stuff. But imagine what like he could just do with just $1 million. That was just the budget. So much blood that would be.
Yeah, it's crazy to see a movie that uses a small budget. And, I was just talking about my top 10 worst list. You can guess which one was number one.
Mhm.
But my number two was like Pray for the Devil. And then my number three was The Invitation. And what those had in common was like, now you take those, right? Studio budgets. They got that studio money.
Mhm.
And they
Yep.
look like fucking shit. The acting is shit. The effects is garbage, right? And these are Hollywood funded movies. They have the big backers and the money men, and they have the marketing push, because this is all word of mouth for Terrifier too.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. Like it's like I just when I talk to people about this, it's like, yo, this is a huge deal. Like just not only just for horror, but just filmmaking. Like this is everything that Daily Wire wants to do. Think about that.
This is like, I almost feel like this production crew should go and teach a little seminar to like Daily Wire and the other ones that are trying to do this, and be like, hey, this is
That's
how you do it. Like,
because it's like it's on every mainstream shit. Like even Stephen King has talked about it now. It's just like, yo, like this is getting some like big names just even just talking about it, just getting people into just watching it.
yeah, this to me is true cinema making. And I'm really nitpicky about stuff like this. And I'll be honest with you, when I first started my list, I had Scream as my number one. Maybe I have a bias, but I fucking love that movie, right? I had Scream 2022, and then X came along, and then Pearl came along, and there was a lot of shit battling. And then
Barbarian's getting a lot of
oh yeah,
talk. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna watch Barbarian tonight. That's what I'm gonna do as soon as the lovely lady gets done. Like, look, she loved it, and she's very picky with movies. And so horror landscape right now, especially this year in particular, is to me the strongest it's ever been. And dude, on my list, I couldn't even do the shows. We're not even talking about horror shows too.
Yeah. And
I mean,
in from that's just fire. Yellow Jackets, like
let the right one in, or let me in, but it's a continuation of let the right one in and let me in, which is amazing that franchise has not been active, dude, for like 10 years. And I saw the show and it's fucking good. And it's almost like a direct continuation of that movie, because I've watched both of them and they're both good.
Not to completely derail, but even A24 now working on like a Friday the 13th prequel. That's really crazy. Like a series.
I can't tell you how fucking excited I am. You know, like Jason is my jam. Like
But it's not.
that.
They can't use Jason or anything like that. But like I'm curious to see. Like I'm all for like just a Pamela Voorhees story though. Like
No, I've said for years that's a unique franchise where most people forget that series didn't start with Jason. It started with his mother. You don't have to use Jason to make something like
yeah,
terrifying. You could
they
still
could probably because I think what they're going to do is kind of like a Bates Motel type of situation. I think that'd be perfect.
there's the Friday the 13th series, why it's been in limbo is because it's been in court and there's been a
Yeah.
legal battle for it for
Hmm.
fucking years. I'm hoping by the year 2030 they'll figure the shit out, and I'll get a
No,
Friday the 13th movie.
I think that what they're going to just do is just kind of keep the shit on television. That's the prequel, and then like that's going to create enough buzz for the studios to be like, all right, they want a Friday the 13th movie. That's probably not going to be connected to that, but it's just going to be its own
Well, Perp, I'm hoping I don't fucking die before I see the first like official movie come out.
thing. There before you know it, you know.
So yeah, watching Three Ring Inferno right now. That's a good choice. Yeah, I'm gonna get off your shit to watch Barbarian. But what were you gonna say?
I will say though, even though this movie's like 2.5 hours almost, like I'm completely all for it, but they could have definitely cut this down to like 2 hours. Which
Oh,
I think Terrifier 3 will be at least 2 hours. Like they'll keep it.
I'm not gonna lie. Here's my thing with the time, and I agree with this with a lot of what reviewers said. You don't really notice it the first time you watch it, just because of all the shit that's going on. But I have a feeling I like I said, I only had a code to watch it once, but I have a feeling when I go back through, I'll feel it a little bit more because I already know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Once
be
you
looking for little shit in it. But yeah,
once once you hit the bedroom scene, that's pretty much halfway through, the movie, which is crazy. It's just like damn, so much happened, but like it's but it was just really well paced. I felt like still,
it
in my
was
opinion.
it was one of the better 2 hour movies that I've watched. And
Mhm.
like I've said, we've danced around this, even though we talked about some of the kills and stuff. Really, I would encourage people to watch Terrifier 2. Um, it was back to basics for me. And the weird thing is, it's number one, and like it was tough between the menu and Terrifier 2 because the
And the
menu
menu's that good.
is like elevated horror kind of,
Oh, you're one of those.
but it also gets fucked up. Don't get it twisted.
Hmm.
Picture if Gordon Ramsay was a psychopath. That's this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I wish they would never shown that like second trailer because it's just like now my mind is
Trust
starting
me,
to put
no,
things.
that trailer, bro, that trailer. Look, one thing I will give them: the trailers they showed, and I said the same thing. Do not give anything away about this movie. This movie is like a horror comedy, but like a black comedy. Like the
Yeah.
humor is funny in a fucked up way. It's not
It's
like
like it's
haha.
like Terrifier. It's like Terrifier is like a black comedy.
It's not that over the top, but there
Mhm.
is some fucked up shit that'll happen that'll have you laughing just because of how it's all set up. And Robert Fiennes is a fucking legend. This guy is so underrated as an actor. Anna Taylor Joy is Anna Taylor Joy. She's fucking amazing and everything. I don't think I've seen her in something bad yet. Have you? I've not seen her in
Nah,
anything.
she's everything. She's in everything though. I have a question though for you. When are you going to review the Cabinet of Curiosities?
What's that?
Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh, that new Netflix show.
Hmm.
I fucking love it.
Where's the review?
I'm going to. I haven't finished all of the episodes yet because I had some bills I had to pay, so my Netflix kind of had to hold for a second. I think I watched it.
Hmm.
I watched up to episodes 2 or 3. I know I watched like the first set of them. I just haven't watched the last ones.
When you finish, just make sure you put your ranking in there too. So
I finished this one with this taxidermy lady. I don't want to say too much to get, you know what I mean, because I don't know who's seen
oh,
it.
the outside of Christmas one.
Yes,
That's
I
episode
really
4, yeah.
like that one.
Yeah, Lotion Monster. Like that shit was fucking. You could pretty much insinuate anything with that. You know, I knew what they're doing.
I had a feeling, but I didn't know how fucked up it was gonna get. I like Guillermo del Toro. I like the other directors. I think it's very creative. Now I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of this was practical effects. If there's CGI, I couldn't pick
some
up
of
on
them
it.
do, but some of them are mostly like more practical. You could tell.
Yeah, like the ones that I saw looked very practical. I didn't, and I catch CGI, but then again, they could have done the CGI so well
I'm
because
gonna call it right now though. I think your favorites are gonna be Pikmin's model, which is episode 5, and the last episode, the Murmur.
oh man, I can't wait to see it. I gotta tell you, I'm really enjoying it. I like how they each kind of got their own little flavor. There's they're very unique. I like anthologies though. I'm one of the few people who likes the Halloween season of The Witch because they did it like
A lot
an
more people like
anthology. Dude, that thing was hated for a long time.
But I was just like, I can understand like what like when watching that, I can understand what John Carpenter is talking about. Like he wanted each Halloween movie to kind of be its own kind of self-contained story. That would be fucking dope. But they would have kept doing.
It's like now I think that it's a cool idea to take the Halloween brand and I think they should do an anthology. Like do it, you could do it in the town of Haddonfield, but like do like little side stories.
And have be different time periods and shit like that. Just
yeah,
you can go to the future.
you could even maybe have Michael Cross in there sometimes, you know what I mean?
Mm.
But like have its own thing. You could even have stuff connected to shit that he's done that's created this kind of thing. I don't know.
That's why the greatest crossover would be Trick or Treat and Halloween, because it would just literally be that.
Like
Season of the Witches, but like you'll have Michael in these individual stories killing stuff. Like it just be different stories.
I thought it too, though it had the most interesting premise too with those masks, and it was fucked up. Like kids being murdered, dude. That was. Dude,
speaking of kids being murdered, I was like, yo, that's all I need out of Chucky. This Chucky season 2. Like, I need to see more buff Chucky, punching holes in dudes and stuff. Like that shit was fucking.
Bro, I've got my thoughts on Chucky. I'm gonna be honest. I was not happy with the first episode, and I was a little sketchy on the second. But you already know what I said about Buff Chucky. That shit was fucking hilarious. Yeah, I laughed so fucking hard. I was like, bro, he fucked that kid up.
I was like, why didn't they follow up with that? They followed up with a Tiff episode. It's like, God damn it, bro. Like, just bring in Buff Chucky. You introduce him and he just disappears. Like,
yeah, I think they're gonna bring it back towards the end, but yeah, I am definitely like, I'm very much curious. I didn't mind the other episode they had with Glenda and them working together to try to overthrow Tiffany. I think that's pretty cool. I
thought it was a bit much. I was just like, I don't think they needed to be in the story, honestly. Like, it just kind of felt forced in there. Just like,
it felt like a forced cameo, but the actors did very good. I thought that they did good in portraying like what they were, because dude, Seed of Chucky is a fucking terrible movie. I hate that movie so much. Like most Chucky fans.
Some people like that movie though. It's crazy. I know. Like some people like Seed and hate. Some people like Seed but hate Bride of Chucky. Some people love Bride of Chucky and hate Seed. Like,
see, that's me. I think Bride of Chucky was the right craziness. Seed of Chucky went off the fucking cliff. I don't know what the fuck happened. I do respect that was technically the first like gender neutral gender kind of story before it became fucking popular. So kudos for that.
Chucky's after the game. A lot of stuff.
I also loved how he was like, I don't hate you because you're gay. I just want to murder you because, all the other shit.
Right, and it's just like, and it's Chucky's, like, people say Chucky's woke. I was like, no, it's not really woke because he'll still kill you.
Yeah, he doesn't,
Doesn't discriminate. That's all he's saying. He's like, I don't discriminate. I'll still kill you, bro. Like,
yeah, it was like, I do like that poking fun of the woke thing because it's like and I know that goes back to Michael Myers where they had that whole thing after Halloween Kills. It says, is Michael homophobic because he killed the gay people? It's like, did you not see the other 16 fucking people he murdered before the gay people? Like, he murdered half the fucking town. The fire department's done. They were done in the beginning of the movie. Like, who knows if all of them were straight?
The funniest thing about Halloween Kills is I didn't notice this like the second time I watched it. Like, some dude tried to hit Mike with a hose. Like, that shit was funny. Like at that point, you deserve to die. You get it with a water hose, like we'll do.
Like, I get it because that's a lot of pressure. Like, it's not the stupidest plan given the situation, but
you got
a fire truck. Why would you not hop in the fire truck and fucking leave?
Right.
This man.
Somebody should have did that. That would have been hilarious. Like, as soon as like he walked up for fire somebody on the side, should be like, "Oh fuck this!" He just took off running.
Yeah, he was like, "Dude, that's what I'm sorry. Like, look, I'm down for sticking with the peeps and fighting the good fight. But if he murders half the fucking fire team,
I'm running.
I'm running. I'm sorry. You guys are on your own. I just
watched 28 weeks later.
My drinking buddies.
Killed by little Bobby.
Like, that was. I remember Bitchy was telling me she was mad when the gay couple died. We really liked them.
Only people I liked. Dead.
Yeah, those were the only people she liked in the movie. And I go, they're dying, right? Because this motherfucker had been killing everyone.
It's funny. It's funny though, like that people complain about ends. It's like, oh, we wanted more Michael. You got that with Kills, and you still weren't happy. Like, that's the most kills he's ever done, like in one movie.
Oh yeah, like I was watching Kills again. I was like, holy fuck! Like right from the beginning, he obliterates that town. I do understand the complaints about ends, and we've talked about it ad nauseum. I get it. It is on the very bottom of my worst movies because of the fact that it fucked the trilogy. I think that the problem with the movie, and it's not to say I couldn't watch it again, but rewatching it and then watching it together with the movies, it doesn't fit. Because
are we gonna act like Laurie Strode wasn't a Mary Sue in the first movie? Like, cause I was like, there's many times where like Michael could have just killed her ass. Like when that first time when he was like behind her and he slashes down and just cuts her shirt, I was like, bro, are you blind or just stupid? Like, could have ended the movie right there. Boom.
Like and that's horror movie. Like, look, I think that it's going to be one of those movies like the Rob Zombie movies where the people are going to bitch about it for a while, but eventually they're going to like it. I fucking love the Rob Zombie movies, except for the beginning of the first Halloween that he did. I don't like that redneck fucking dialect that he puts in it.
Like, once Exorcist comes out next year, people will completely forget about Halloween Ends and focus.
Yeah, The Exorcist is my favorite, so if they fuck that up, I'm going to be a little bit more...
All you have to do is do practical effects. Just keep everything practical. Don't try to do shot for shot either.
A trilogy. They tried to do 3 movies. Man, that story, the book, the whole thing is really just meant for one movie, one and done. I don't understand this need to do like 3 movies. You can only.
But who knows? They could strike gold with this first one at least. Like they could do something that we never thought they could do with possession movies and like breathe fresh air into that genre of horror.
Zod, I hope for a woke exorcist.
A woke assist.
A woke assist. He's just exercising woke people. Wouldn't that be great?
That would be hilarious. That's a funny movie, actually.
Dude, I would definitely pay to see that movie. But yeah, I'm about to sign off because yeah, and I told you that we were gonna watch Preparing as well, so you wanted to. Now you don't?
I said it would be too late.
Bet she about to fuck you up, yo.
So do you want to watch it or not?
Did you not just hear I said maybe we can start it?
Women are so confusing, bro.
So maybe I'm gonna sleep.
Gonna beat you up, yo. Okay.
That's the story of my life. Zod, they better leave the Exorcist movie alone, damn it.
That's coming. Next year is coming.
Yeah, I'm 50-50. Once again, the director's doing things directors shouldn't do. Just shut the fuck up. Don't say interviews. Now, everybody's gonna take it out of context. I've seen the videos, and look, I do think a lot of what he said, especially towards the director, was pretty pretentious, but people forget that Freakin' as a director was a fucking terrible person. I saw the behind the scenes and the fucked up shit he did to the actors. Like, he hurt his actresses to get a reaction from them and didn't tell them. That's fucked up. Like, he legit did stuff bordering on pretty fucking unethical. Like, that movie and The Shining is the reason why that there's mandates on films. I
didn't even notice that. I found that out watching the 101 Scariest Horror Movie Moments about The Shining. That the chick that in there, I forget the mom's name. She did like 100 and something takes and some shit. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, she did 100 and something takes of puking, sitting up. The mother, when she gets thrown across the room, they watched the story on The Exorcist. If you guys haven't seen it, it's on Shudder. There's a documentary about it. Like, he took the fucking harness and yanked her back. So the expression of pain she has is fucking real because they really yanked the shit out of her with that rope. Like, the way that movie was made was
the best thing he could come out and say though is just say like, well, maybe it might be the best, not be the best thing to say, but say like, you know what, we're not trying to recreate the wheel or anything like that, or you know, we understand that Exorcist means a lot to some people, but we just want to do something different or to honor that.
Yeah, I think, I like the idea of a director who can competently direct, actually trying to take these older IPs that needed a revitalization and trying to put a different kind of spin to bring them to a newer audience. I think you wouldn't have there's newer fans to Halloween now because of this. Like, old G Halloween fans can be pissed off all they want to, but we can all agree 2018 and Kills, a majority of the fan base likes. It was really well done, and Ends is going to be divisive for a while, but I think once the dust settles, it'll be appreciated. And this isn't the worst. Like, anyone who sits here and tells me this is the worst of the franchise, you are fucking lying. I've seen every single Halloween movie. This is in no way even close to the fucking worst that has ever been in Halloween. We've had some pretty fucking bad sequels. There's like fucking 15 movies or something and different timelines. So, yeah, and that's why I like Terrifier kind of bringing it full circle. That's why I like Terrifier, because it's something fresh. It's something new. We're building a new franchise. I mean, they tried making the movie close to the original story, so they had to do fucked up shit to make it close, but to hurt people, I crossed the line there. Yeah, Jenny, watch that documentary. It's
Watch that. It's called Cursed Films, and watch the one on the Wizard of Oz and the work environment they were in. Like that's fuck shit right there.
Oh yeah, it like I get it, and Peter Franken is a really meticulous director, and I get it. But like people like him, James Cameron, and stuff like that, they sometimes, to me, cross a line that you shouldn't cross. When you're fucking hurting people and not telling them you're gonna do that, that's fucked up. I don't care what you say. There's no justification. Like you can't do that to your talent. That's like I get it. There's actors, and there's a difference between them bitching and not doing what they want you to do. But when you're forcing a little girl to do 100 fucking takes throwing up pea soup, that's a little bit of fucking extreme. Like that. Linda Blair never wanted to fucking do another Exorcist movie ever after that movie. She was 8 years old when she did that film. You look gorgeous. Cutie. Love you.
Gross.
Everything's just gonna sag more in 15 years.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a certain line that you shouldn't cross, but that's why I refer back to Terrifier 2. I like the director's appreciation for the fans. I like movies that he has a clear passion and a direction, and he very much just wants to make something that people will appreciate. And I feel like that is very much dying, and even creative talent is being suppressed, because there's a lot of creative directors out there, but people don't search up the movies. Only people like you or me who watch 150 movies ever see these other movies.
And that's the problem. You have a bunch of people that don't watch movies, critiquing shit, thinking they know everything. They don't. I don't claim to know everything. That's why I was like, that's why I like to watch a bunch of different movies.
Oh yeah, me neither. I'm just an asshole who has a weird obsession with Nick Cage. I will tell you, everything Nick Cage ever makes is a fucking masterpiece, and I will fucking die on that hill. But yeah, it's it comes down to taste, and I think that's why critiquing gets hard. But I think that this movie is actually art as far as the expression of horror and gore, but also the love that he clearly has for this character, this world, and for bringing it to the people. And what more could you ask for? Now, fair warning, this is a very gory, very violent, very brutal movie.
You will never eat mashed potatoes again.
Oh God, nope. Yeah, I always forgot about
or
that.
cereal.
Oh my God! Oh,
It's supposed to make you hate food for at least 24 hours. Like, do not digest anything in your stomach.
But yeah, if you want a gory ride, I'd recommend not eating anything. Don't snack on anything. Probably really don't drink anything. Just watch the movie. Trust me, if you're a little peckish, you won't be hungry by the time this movie ends. And you'll be glad. You'll be glad you didn't eat anything. But thank you everybody for watching. This has been my Halloween special. I appreciate it. Thank you, Perp/Art the Clown, for gracing us with your murderous presence.
Of course, and shouts to everybody that came to the Clown Cafe for a little bit,
Oh yeah. So what did you have going on? Anything you?
No, I'm just chilling right now. You know what I'm saying? 2 more months left of the year. Thank God. Just winding it down. So.
Oh God, yeah, because I got to do my end of the year massive top 10 list. I did the horror because I'm trying to remove some horror from that list. I just want to do like movies. The thing is, movies have been up and down. So, and so it's going to be an interesting top 10 list. I honestly, and we still got we still got this year to go. I could tell you Black Panther won't be on there, so that's easy. But I got a lot of other good movies I'm looking forward to. So, and Black Adam's at 250 million. Go DC. Henry Cavill's back. Fuck yeah, boy.
Still do better. They can do better, but it's a start.
I mean, we're getting there. We're getting Peacemaker 2. We got James Gunn, man in the helm. I like to say David Big Dick Zaslav. So
pause.
he's swinging that around, slapping the old regime.
Anyways.
So, anyways, that's now you guys can picture that. That's terrifying image. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you all very much for watching. Go check out my boy Perp. He had some great stuff. He might have an episode of the Perp Show that has me on there. I don't know. You have to go and watch his channel. Plus, he has reviews on everything. And I'm not even joking. This man literally has, like, if you want to know.
I uploaded 40. I uploaded like 41 or 42. Like 42 videos last month.
Yeah, he's got like 42. He was probably uploading shit before he jumped on now. So go.
Like Kang the Conqueror.
I told you, go check out his channel. You're probably going to find something you've been curious about. Go check out all of the profits. I will be streaming my Marvel Snap plays. I've been doing it over on Twitch and on the Profits of Geek Culture. So you can join me over there in the mornings doing tutorials and bullshitting while playing Marvel Snap and trying to rank up the ladders before the 2-month reset. Because there's it's been 2 months and then like 2 or 3 days they reset the ladder. So all of my progress will be fucked. So I'm trying to get to rank 100 before then. And I'm on rank 40. So yeah, the grind is real. So go check that out. Definitely go check out Marvel Snap because it's a fun game, completely free. It's very rare you have a free to play game that's actually free to play. And it's super fun. Like if you like Marvel and you like the Marvel characters, go check it out. And then check out my guides because I give you the best in-depth guides on all of YouTube.
On TikTok.
Fuck TikTok. Twitch.
Wow.
Anyways, thank you everybody and have a good night. I will see you all this Friday. And as always, remember the only rule here in the Phantom Zone. Don't let this motherfucker art corner you at your house. And definitely don't let him fucking get bleach or salt. Bad things happen to good people.
If you see a man that's dressed up like Art, give him candy.
Give him candy.
He might leave you alone.
Yeah, give him candy, and then very nice.
Don't badger him to pay for things either.
No, this motherfucker don't want to pay for nothing. You seen his face. Don't do it. Bye.